Thanks very much, Lascian Corla. I'm happy to have the opportunity to speak on this today. Actually, just this week in my clinics on Monday, I had members from the Carlow and Kilkenny ICSA in my clinic. So when this was on the agenda, I thought I would take the opportunity to raise some of the concerns that they raised with me. And as people will know, both counties of Carlow and Kilkenny obviously have a good mix, I suppose, of rural and urban, but there is a lot of people who are relying solely on their sheep farming income. And as we know, and it's been said by my colleague, Deputy Matt Carty, the sheep sector is going through a particularly challenging period. And while this might be recognised in words by the Minister and by government, words it really is not enough. And at this stage, people really need solutions and they need action. Irish sheep farmers are in the eye of the perfect storm because on the one hand, they're obviously contending with the fallout of Brexit and everything else that comes with that. Then they have the rise in input costs and the total annihilation of the wool prices. So I fear many small farmers will be wiped out, and that's what they're saying directly to us in our clinics, and in particular that there actually isn't a wool sector in Ireland anymore. And just this week when I was speaking to some of the local sheep farmers, the amount of, I suppose, opportunities that there is in the wool sector that they were talking about in relation to the various uses that we're just not tapping into, it really seems like a very, very big missed opportunity. It now costs farmers more to shear their animals and dispose of the wool than any potential income generated from wool sales. And I don't think anyone could regard the price farmers get for their wool product in any way could be considered fair trading. We can't keep expecting farmers to finish lambs at below the cost of production and without direct supports. Farmers are asking me what is the point in awaiting the publication of the feasibility study into Ireland's wool sector, as they don't feel the report proposed any real solutions. And I'd have to say I would see their point in relation to this. My colleague has mentioned Brexit, and this is undoubtedly having an impact on our farmers here. And while Brexit and the non-existent wool sector present their own difficulties, another pressure point relates to mart prices, which we know are dictated by the all-powerful meat processors and factories. So the reality is that farmers do not get a fair price for the whole animal. There are international markets, meat factories and processors sell every single part of the animal into, but farmers don't see any of these sideline profits. And as somebody that doesn't come from an agricultural background, what I always say to people who are in a similar situation to myself, if you actually just go into a butcher's or a supermarket and look at the price of meat, and then when you hear what the actual farmers are getting for it, you couldn't not say how deeply unfair it is. So I make that point is because you don't have to be an expert necessarily in this field to understand that farmers are being treated very, very unfairly. Despite the sector crying out for assistance and for a level of resilience building and policy emanating from the department, farmers have been left wanting and waiting. They're looking for an increase in the paltry €10 sheep welfare payment. And we have committed, as my colleague has already said, to increase this payment in our proposals to €20, and the Minister has committed, I think, to a €2 increase. So I don't see how that would adequately deal with any of the challenges. In fact, it's quite a bit of an insult to people, really, €2. We need confirmation on what rescue package there will be for the sector. Sheep farmers need direct supports and a clear pathway to ensure the viability of the sector. It has been suggested by people that I have met that the Brexit Adjustment Reserve or BAR Fund could be used in the short term as an emergency support package. The allocation of 100 million from the BAR Fund to meat factories and processors is a particularly bitter pill for small sheep farmers to swallow. And I believe that officials in the department have been instructed to examine potential supports for sheep farmers, but we need to see an acceleration in action and a timeline. I think that's one of the key things here, actual action points and a timeline with key targets to improve the sustainability of the sector. There is true value in having a vibrant sheep sector for regional economies, and this needs to be recognised. We need to ensure that we are supporting this sector so that it is not decimated, and we're in very real fear of that happening. Thank you very much.